1 week after marriage, you are standing in front of the mirror, a bright sari wrapped messily around you, the pleats all wrong, the palu barely covering you. You are frowning at your reflection, frustrated beyond belief. You mutter, "Ugh, why? Did I agree to wear this? Why did she even suggest it? She can just... Ugh." Just then, the door opens without a knock. Taehyung walks in, holding his phone, typing something, his expensive suit, his perfect hair, and his perfectly cold expression. He looks up, sees you, freezes for exactly 0.2 seconds, then turns to leave. As if he saw nothing, you spin around and say, "Yeah, stop," he says, without turning. "I do not see anything you say." "Oh, you saw plenty now. Come here," he exhales, clearly annoyed, but turns his head slightly. His eyes flick to you once, then away again, his face still unreadable, though his ears turn the faintest pink. He says, "What exactly do you want, Mrs. Kim?" You pout. "Help me wear this." He says, "No." You plead, "Please, Taehyung." "Ah, it is my first time. I have been trying for 2 hours. 2 hours," he says. "You have maids or ask my mother, or literally anyone else." You cross your arms, ignoring how your sari slips dangerously, and say, "I do not want anyone else. I want you to do it." His jaw tightens inside his head. Alarms are going off his wife's. Bare waist in front of him, the soft curve of her shoulders, the scent of her shampoo. He thinks she is doing it on purpose. This woman is going to kill me one day. I am not touching her. No self-control. Kim Taehyung, you are the CEO of 6 companies. You have faced billion-dollar negotiations. Without blinking, you can handle one bubbly little wife in a half-worn sari, right? You say, "Come on, please, for your sweet wife." He says, "You're not sweet." You say, "Okay, your hot wife." Then his hand twitches. He looks away. Instantly, he says, "Your brother's wife can help you." You say, "She is busy getting ready. And besides, we decided together that we will both wear saris today. If I am late, I will look like the idiot bride who cannot even dress herself." He says, "That is because you cannot." You say, "Yeah." Do you want your wife to look bad in front of your family? Silence. He does not move you. Sigh dramatically, walking closer, holding the palu up with one hand, so it does not fall. You stand in front of him and pout big doe eyes, looking straight into his. You say, "Please help me." Taehyung. Something in his chest tightens. That stupid pout. He hates it. He hates how much he wants to kiss it. His heart rate is ridiculous, but his face stays like marble. He says, "Fine, just stand still." He steps closer. His fingers brush your waist as he adjusts the pleats, and you swear you feel him flinch slightly. He works slowly, mechanically, eyes fixed on the sari, not your skin, but his ears are getting redder. By the second you grin, "Are you blushing, Mr. CEO?" He says, "No." You say your ears say yes. He says, "Your mouth says too much." You bite your lip, holding back a laugh as he tucks the pleats into your waist, careful, precise. But the warmth of his hand lingers far longer than necessary. You say, "You could just admit I make your heart race." He says, "You do not." You lean forward slightly and say, "Then why is your hand shaking?" He immediately pulls back, fixing the final drape of your sari, like he is closing a business file. He finishes helping you with the sari. His ears are red, but his face is still stone cold. He turns to leave like nothing happened. He says, "Done. Now, stop bothering me." You smirk. You are welcome for the free cardio. He stops mid-step and mutters, "Unbelievable." Walk out the door. When you suddenly call out again, you say, "Wait, wait, wait," he says, without turning. "What? Now, Mrs. Kim," you say innocently, "help me wear this necklace. Your mom gave it to me. Remember, my hands cannot reach the clasp." You hold up the delicate gold necklace with dangling pearls. Clenches. He knows exactly what this means, standing close, touching your neck, feeling your hair brush against his fingers. Inside, he is screaming at himself to leave, but his mother gave that necklace, so he cannot say no. He walks back slowly and says, "You really cannot do anything by yourself, can you?" You say, "Oh, I can do a lot of things by myself, but this one is more fun if you do it." He glares at you, but you see that tiny flicker in his eyes, the one you live for. You turn around, moving your head to one side, baring the nape of your neck. He exhales quietly, stepping closer. You can feel the warmth radiating off him as he takes the necklace from your hand. His long fingers brush your skin, and you hear the faintest hitch in his breathing. You smirk to yourself and say your hands are cold. He says, "Good, maybe they will cool you down." You say, "Cool me down. Honey, I am not the one who looks nervous right now." He ignores you, but his fingers are fumbling just a little too much. With a tiny clasp you say, "Do you need help, Mr. CEO? Should I call your secretary?" He says in a low voice, "Do not push it." Finally, he fastens the clasp and steps back. You spin around dramatically, letting the necklace settle against your collarbone. You say, "Well, how do I look?" He stares at you for half a second, longer than necessary, before his cold mask slides back in place. He says, "It is fine." You say, "Fine." He says, "Yes, fine." You say that is the word you use for coffee in the office cafeteria, not for your beautiful wife in your necklace. He says, "You are fishing for compliments." You say, "And you are refusing to give them." Typical. You take a small step closer. He does not move back, but his eyes narrow. Suspiciously, you rest your hands on his shoulders like you are about to adjust his tie. Except you do not. You say, "You know you could just admit I take your breath away. I would keep it a secret." He says, "You do not." You grin and say, "Then why are you blinking so much right now?" He instantly stops blinking, staring at you with that CEO glare. You giggle, patting his chest lightly. You say, "Relax, Ice Cube, your family's waiting." You walk past him toward the door, but as you do, you let your fingers trail lightly against his arm. You do not see it, but his hand tightens into a fist for a second, like he's holding himself back in the living room. The small family party is in full swing. His parents, his brother, and his brother's wife are seated with tea and snacks. You walk in smiling brightly, greeting everyone. Taehyung follows behind, perfectly composed, at least on the outside. Mrs. Kim says, "Inna, you look beautiful in that sari, and the necklace suits you perfectly." You beam and say, "Thank you, Oma. Your son helped me with both." Taehyung freezes mid-step. Every head turns to him. His brother smirks knowingly. His brother says, "Oh, the great Kim Taehyung, personally helping his wife get ready. Now, that is news." Taehyung says coldly, "It was necessary." You say, "Necessary for my beauty." "Yes." Everyone laughs. Taehyung sits down beside you, sipping his tea, without looking at anyone, but you can see the faint tension in his jaw under the table. You nudge his knee with yours. He does not move. You nudge again. This time he shoots you a warning glance, but you just grin, sipping your tea like an angel. You say innocently, "Oh, sorry, did I bump you?" He says low, without looking. "Stop." You grin, sipping your tea like an angel who has never done a wrong thing in her life. 2 minutes later, you slide your foot sideways, just enough for your toes to brush against a shoe. His gaze shifts to you sharply. You just smile wider. You say, "Is the tea too hot?" Taehyung, "Ah." You look tense. He says, "I am fine." You lean slightly toward him, lowering your voice so only he hears you. Say, "Should I call you something else to make you relax?" He looks at you, suspicious, and says, "Do not." You smile sweetly, but loud enough that everyone hears. "Okay, Daddy." The word leaves your lips like a sugar-coated grenade. You fake your shock, covering your mouth slightly and pretending to blush, lowering your gaze as if embarrassed. Your sister-in-law says, "Daddy, oh my God, I did not know you guys were planning to have kids. I am so glad." She says it with genuine excitement, completely misinterpreting your choice of words. This time you actually feel your cheeks warm, for real. Taehyung clears his throat, obviously holding back laughter. He says, "Tae, I think I now believe anything is possible." He smirks knowingly. Mrs. Kim lightly slaps his arm and says, "You both stop teasing my kids. Look at them. They are shy." You glance at Taehyung. His ears are tinged pink, and though his face is mostly composed, his eyes are locked on you with an unreadable intensity. Your heart skips a beat. You cannot quite tell if he is angry, flustered, or both. A few minutes later, when the rest of the family, caught up in conversation, Taehyung says low and dangerous, "You are dead." When this is over, you whisper back, with a smirk promise. He chokes slightly on his tea, coughing into his hand. Everyone assumes the tea was too hot, but you know better. You just lean back in your chair, sipping your own tea like the angel. You absolutely are not 10 minutes later while everyone talks about vacation plans. You keep up your little game. Your knee brushes his under the table. He does not react. You nudge again, still nothing. You cross your ankles and lightly stroke his shin with the side of your foot this time. His hand twitches slightly around his fork. Progress. Mrs. Kim says in, "Ah, would you like more dessert?" You say, "Yes, please, pass it here." You lean forward to reach the plate, just enough for your arm to brush against his. You feel the faintest tightening of his jaw beside you. After the party, the evening winds down. But Taehyung's family is not leaving yet. They came yesterday and will be staying until tomorrow morning after chatting with his mother and sister-in-law. For a while, you finally excuse yourself and head to your room. You close the door softly behind you and twist the lock with a quiet click. You turn around and freeze. Taehyung is sitting on the edge of the bed, one leg propped up, elbows resting casually on his knees. His tie is loosened, the top buttons of his shirt undone, and his hair slightly tousled from the long day. But he says, "You like playing games, do not you?" You whisper, teasingly. "Only when I win." He stops right in front of you, close enough for you to smell the faint trace of his cologne and the warmth of his breath. His hand braces against the wall, beside your head, trapping you in place. He says, "Good, because now we are going to play mine." You tilt your head and say, "Oh, and what game is that?" His lips curl into the faintest smirk, one you have never seen on him before. He says, "The one where you call me daddy the whole night." Your eyes widen slightly, his voice drops lower. His gaze locking onto yours, he says, "And I do not care if my family hears it from outside this door." Your breath hitches. He leans closer, his lips barely grazing the shell of your ear. He says, "In fact, I hope they do." Your pulse is racing. His hand slides to your waist, fingers curling possessively, as his other hand tilts your chin upward. You half smile, breathless, and say you would not. He smirks now and says, "Sweetheart, try me."